What's up, everybody? Blue,
Delta,
and I'm so excited. Well, we're excited, but I'm really excited because we are doing the updated version of Jesse's deck. So now I'm sure some of you are wondering, like, hey, new cards didn't come out for Jesse, just Alexis. And that's completely, pretty much true. But we retooled the deck. It's been on the list for a while of stuff to do. We retooled the deck because we weren't completely satisfied with the original version. We were missing cards that we should have had. We had a card or two that kind of really actually didn't belong there.
change the numbers a little bit around, you know.
So we changed the deck up a little bit. You know, and obviously we're gonna go through this. You know, but Crystal Beasts are like, you know, my favorite archetype. Also, hence the special mat, the Crystal Beast Hobby League mat. So there's 2 of each monster, and actually 2 of almost every card. I'm sure some of you are wondering, like, why? Okay, so there was only one of each in the anime. That's absolutely true. But the problem is we can't really have one of each. The deck would be too inconsistent with having only 7 monsters plus Remo Dragon.
We don't have a lot of Jesse's cards made, and obviously in the anime, Jesse can draw whatever he needs at the same time.
Like, if you watch the anime, Jesse opens up, like, all his duels with at least 2 or 3 Crystal Beasts.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen in real life if you've actually played the card game. So that, and he had a lot of cards that helped you search them that we don't have. Our cards that let you draw or search require 2 already on the field. So, you know, doing the one of each Crystal Beast will also be having 3 of a lot of spells and traps, and the whole deck would just really not feel like a Jesse deck. Because congratulations, you're accurate. 1 of each copy. And the rest of the deck is just inaccurate and doesn't play, and then you end up crying saying, why didn't it work? Because I saw this in a cartoon once. So, like we said, Mammoth.
What's it made of?
Which, funny enough, in the anime, has very
Arnold Schwarzenegger type voice?
Yeah, it sounds like, you know, Terminator there.
It'll charge. Alright,
so, and then Amethyst Cat, that was one of the female ones. I actually always kind of had Amethyst, or Mammoth as a female.
Yeah, I could thought Mammoth could have been a female too.
But it's a guy, and Cat's obviously, I mean, not that it really matters about any of this.
This is just genders.
It's kind of like a fun fact, you know. What's really cool about the Crystal Beast, so here's Cobalt, and I love his effect because since it can put any card, you can actually send one of the Crystal Beasts from the spell and trap zone back to your deck. So you
like
can
Sapphire Pegasus.
Yeah, you can reset a Pegasus.
Total abuse.
I mean, I like the Crystal Beasts. I like their origin story, that they were these 7 gems collected by, was it Caesar and the Romans, from what lands he's conquered, and the ship was lost at sea, and then Pegasus found them, he made them dual monster cards, and then the Crystal Beasts were at, Pegasus brings them with him everywhere, I guess, because Pegasus was at a tournament, and the Crystal Beasts, Dual Monster Spirits, were saying, yo, we like this Jesse kid. And Pegasus was like, oh, well, alright then. And because Pegasus, after the first season, was a really chill, down-to-earth guy, and had a, you know, wasn't a crazy Fruit Loop, he said, alright, Jesse, these cards belong to you now, because the Dual Monster Spirits that I can talk to chose you. Great. Tortoise has a very frail, shaky voice. I mean, you know, that's where he's kind of old. Everyone's favorite little buddy, Carbuncle. Now, Carbuncle, who's attacked, by the way, his eyes light up and shoot a beam out of his forehead in a very interesting twist of events. Carbuncle had effect in the anime that the printed one doesn't have, and we chose not to include, which is actually, if you watch the anime, when it's in the spell and trap card zone, it can special summon itself, and then it gets its summon all by its effect. But, and then you're not going to see it on the Wikia. That's not documented in the Wikia.
But if you watch the anime,
it's okay. We don't care. The Wikia's got a lot of plot holes and missing stuff. If you watch the anime multiple times, Carbuncle's in the spell and trap, and then so alright, it special summons itself, and then it wreaks havoc because it brings all the boys to the party.
We don't write every single card because we try to, you know, minimize how much we have to change.
Yeah, I mean, it was an effect that was there, but we figured with, again, having enough duplicates of a lot of the cards, it was okay without it. Now, my personal favorite, Pegasus. Pegasus is like the main engine of the deck because he can take one from anywhere. Your hand, deck, or graveyard.
Broken.
So, you know, it also has the strongest original attack of all the Crystal Beasts. Last of the CBs. Tiger. You know, the more aggressive because it starts at 16. It can go up to 2,000 when it attacks. So it's the
Tiger.
ultimate strong. It's the strongest ultimately, you know, including effects.
And then if you crystal release this, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
2,400 attack goes up to 2,800.
And the last monster, which there was only one. So the ultimate end all of the Crystal Beast archetype was Remo Dragon. So for pretty much most of the Dimension world, he didn't have this. He went to he teased Jaden in their opening duel about summoning it, and he didn't have it, and he lost the duel. He's like, all right, whatever. And Jaden was like, you know, kind of flipped out, and the whole audience was like, what do you mean you don't have Remo Dragon? Jesse's like, hey man, it's in a tablet somewhere, but if you find it, let me know. Pegasus will make it a dual monster card. And that's kind of what happened. It's like, so Pegasus promised me to make it if you found it. Oh, and also, I had to touch a little accent in there. It's because, remember, there were like, in Season 3, we learned, you know, we found out, or they elaborated on multiple dual academies in like 4 different places. Well, there's the main one, then there was East, West, North, South, and there was someone from each of those, and Jesse came from the Eastern one, which is, hey, it was America, and how do you portray an American? Well, with a Southern accent. Contrary to Joey's long-held, you know,
Brooklyn.
His very exaggerated Brooklyn accent. So, now, one thing is I'm going to show you, with Rainbow Dragon, we're going to put him off to the side, and you'll see why, you know, at the end of the video, towards the end. Because there's something cool at towards the end of the deck profile. Next up, 2 Rainbow Ruins. This was also, aside from seeing all the Crystal Beasts in the duel with Jaden, we saw Rainbow Ruins, which is their, you know, their field spell. Because, like, everyone had field spells in the anime as well, in GX. Not literally everyone, but, you know, Jaden has Neos. Aster had stuff. Zane didn't have one. But Rainbow Ruins for the Crystal Beasts, which gets, you know, an effect for each number of Crystal Beasts. Obviously, it goes 1 to 5. So, 1... can't be destroyed by spell traps. 2, you can have the battle damage take once per turn. 3 is you can send a Crystal Beast monster you have to the graveyard to negate the activation of a spell trap card. 4 is you draw an extra card once per turn, and 5 is you can special summon 1. And if you special summon Carbuncle, you know what happens. You flood the field, and your opponent's like, well, shit.
GG. Unless you Mirror Force, then they can just do it again.
Yeah. So, again, hey, Rainbow Ruins. I'm taking these off to the side as well. So, again, you'll see why at the end. Alright, again, so our special summoning of them from the deck. Here's Crystal Beacon. It had a little different effect in the anime.
Close enough.
We're leaving it. It's fine. It's good with this. Again, if we had only one of each, and this needs 2 to summon a third, you would see it really be very inconsistent. He had cards that, you know, would summon them or add them at, you know, less of a cost. So, what we had, I mean, I'd love to do it with one of each Crystal Beasts, but there's a good number of cards like G-Force, M-Force, Gem Flash, so Jesse has own equivalents of Jaden's Hero. So, but Konami doesn't really. And the Crystal Beast support they recently printed in Japan, actually not cards Jesse used.
Sadly.
So they're making the Crystal Beast support, and they're making Pendulum support for Crystal Beast, but it's just all garbage. Okay, so here's an interesting card. And I said G-Force and M-Force in the last sentence. Here's Crystal Promise. Now, Jesse never really played Crystal Promise. But Jesse played E-Force of his GEM cards, which had this exact same effect of select a Crystal Beast card in your spell and trap card zone and special summon it.
And we mean like literally the same.
There's no rewarding, it's kind of similar. It's not anything like, you know, a change effect, and so it's different name, different picture, word for word effect, unlike, say, Tragedy, which in and of itself is a terrible tragedy. They changed it. So the point is, it's in here because we're pretty much counting as E-Force. It is literally the embodiment of E-Force in the TCG, and probably so that they can not have to make GEM. They just picked one. They changed the name, so it's not like you have an E without a G or an M.
I hope we get Gem though.
I'd love to
guys
get
imagine?
Gem. I'd really love to get more Crystal Beast support because it just is just non-existent. Okay, so Crystal Beast. Sorry, Crystal Promise. Jesse played it, but he didn't play it. It's kind of okay. So it's in there. It's the effect he played. It's a simple effect too. It's not something convoluted like Rainbow Ruins, where it has 5 effects. All right, Crystal Release. So
Release the crystals.
it's a great card, and really does help out because in addition to giving a Crystal Beast 800 attack, which some of them are already enough at the point where 800 boost makes them boss level, like equal to Yugi's Dark Magician, or Jaden's Neos. Let's try to stick within the same series. When it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a Crystal Beast to your Spell and Trap card zone, which is all you ever want to do because that's what they're great for. Is one of the few monster archetypes that actually, when it's destroyed, it's not really destroyed, and just still works in a different fashion. Crystal Tree kind of works off the same thing. It gets a counter when a Crystal Beast is placed in the Spell and Trap card zone of either player, although in the anime you're only going to really see it in Jesse's deck. So every time one is sent to the Spell and Trap card zone, it gets a counter, and you can send the card to the grave with X counters to get X number of Crystal Beasts. So it's pretty much a 1-for-1. You get 1 in the Spell and Trap card zone, you get 1 counter, you get 2 in the Trap card zone, 2 counters, you send it, and now you get 2 more Crystal Beasts. Again, the deck works in a lot of ways to get them out, but unfortunately the problem with our version is you have to have multiple of them already. Yeah, which again is not going to be as prevalent as it was in the anime. So Monster Reincarnation, for those times you do have to let them go to the graveyard because you either off them yourself or you don't have a choice because they have to go, your opponent hits them in another way that they are not destroyed.
Just out of Prima.
Yeah, so you do get them back. The last spell card, Rare Value. So again, you have to already have 2. Your opponent gets to choose the one that's sent, which gives them some control over what you have. Of course, if it's 2 of the same, then whatever. But
always pick Carbuncle.
Yeah, always pick Carbuncle,
Pegasus.
and then Pegasus, and then Tiger, and then leave them with like Tortoise or Cat. But it's the deck's version of Potted Reed. Now, speaking of Potted Reed, it was shown at the bottom of his deck, but for the reason that it was only shown at the bottom of his deck in one scene, it's only in here because it was shown there, but did he really?
A deck with cards he really played.
Did he really play it? Because Konami or 4Kids, when they dub stuff, they'll seed cards in, and it's hard to really say was it actually there, was it kind of a filler? Because Potted Reed's the most generic card in the game. If you're going to have to show a deck, you can just show Potted Reed. It's super generic. So we didn't include it. If we made it with one of each, which, again, I'm not saying we're going to do anytime soon, we could probably see Potted Reed for consistency. Okay, so now trap cards. Trap cards, and then that little reveal we're going to have, which is related to this deck, by the way. It's not something separate. So, 1 crystal counter. So you can send spell and trap cards to the graveyard to get Crystal Beasts back from the graveyard. Same as the anime, but ours makes you kind of destroy everything at the end of the turn.
Which actually really sucks. But
we chose not to errata it. I mean, there's only 1 of it, and it's
fundamentally the same core effect.
It's not likely to see as much play anyway. It's not a super prominent card that he's going to need. With all the cards... Oh, there's also, as you saw, there's no Blessing. Jesse didn't play Crystal Blessing. That was in our first draft, but this was his version of Crystal Blessing. So, it's definitely a cool-looking card. But it's a fact that it's kind of like... It can help. It's really good if you have no Crystal Beast whatsoever, and you only have his janky traps or spells, something like that, and it's an emergency, but then you're going to lose them all. So, Crystal Pair, a Crystal Beast card. That when a Crystal Beast monster you control is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, so kind of the thing you don't really want to do, but you may have to do, or for a card effect like this, place a Crystal Beast monster from your deck face up in your spell and trap card zone. Well, it's not going to be face down, is it? As a continuous spell card, yeah, blah, 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 blah.
My trap card.
And then you take damage for the rest of your turn. So basically, if you send one to the grave, instead of keeping it for later, you place one in the spell trap, so you could always send a Tortoise to get out Carbuncle in your spell and trap, and you take no damage. So that's what it's good for, is really... So you lose the monster, but you will take no damage if you're in a dire situation, and you can get one from your deck that you need. Probably, maybe badly. Okay, so Last Resort. We saw this again first with his duel with Jaden. He used it to get his Rainbow Ruins out. It got rid of Jaden's Neo Space. Jaden got to draw a card, which we don't see much in our play because not many people have field spells. They're more prevalent in GX, but still not as consistent as ever having fusion summons. And all it does is get you Ancient City Rainbow Ruins mid-battle, so you can maybe get that, have the damage effect if you need it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Other than that, we have one of it because it's not the most overall useful card. And now this is the fourth and final card I'm pulling off to that side I keep talking about, which is it's all off camera, but it's a different place off camera. See, they're all together. I'm not lying. Rainbow Gravity is your way to summon a Rainbow Dragon by having them all 7 of them, as opposed to just searching him and summoning him yourself. Rainbow Life, which just by having Rainbow in the name is not really a Crystal Beast card, but he used this, we saw, aside from briefly in the 4th season, it was used against Zane. He, conveniently activated this card without Zane noticing before Zane's Chimera Attack Fortress attacked him directly, and then he ended up gaining life points instead of losing them all. Because, in the anime, you can activate a card, but discreetly, because there's explosions and smoke, so that your opponent doesn't see you play a trap card that would make you gain more life points than they can possibly really handle, and, would say, hey, don't attack. So, Rainbow Life. So, it fits the theme. Okay, so, 2 Rainbow Path. Now, the card has a very specific purpose. So, Rainbow Path is a defensive card. When your opponent monster declares an attack, target the monster, negate the attack, and you can add a Rainbow Dragon. So if you already drawn your Rainbow Dragon, or you activated one and got Rainbow Dragon, you can still activate the second one to negate the attack and save yourself. So Last Resort doesn't do. It just activates in the battle phase. To activate Rainbow Ruins, you don't get some added benefit. So this card can protect you while also adding Rainbow Dragon if applicable, which is why it's at 2. It's also a defensive card. And now the last card in his main deck, 2 Triggered Summon. We kept that 2 because even though it's not a Crystal Beast card, it's generic that you and your opponent can special summon monsters. So it really helps to,
put more monsters on the field.
Yeah. So, and it works for both players, so it's kind of balanced in that regard. But it's not very specific. It's just, you can, your opponent summons a monster, you can each special summon a monster. It's helpful. Alright, and now this sums up Jesse's main deck. So the cards I took out are these 4 cards. So Jesse is the second character of all our characters to have a side deck. The first one being Waking the Dragon's Yugi, because at some point he gets all the knights and all the legendary dragons and blah 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 blah. So he had a brief time he was possessed by Yubel, and he played a dark version of the Crystal Beast deck. We've been asked, are you going to make the dark version of Crystal Beast deck? Well, no, because we don't have the advanced Crystal Beasts. They only gave us 2 of those, the 9 darker Crystal Beast cards. So we have a side deck for Jesse, and it's these 4 cards that are going to slide out very cleanly into the dark element by replacing the Last Resort with an advanced dark, both Rainbow Ruins with advanced dark, and obviously Rainbow Dragon turns into his darker self of Rainbow Dark Dragon. So now, this is the side deck so that, you don't have the 2 Rainbow Dragons, because that would be
weird.
And you don't have the, too many field spells. You could theoretically switch out other cards and have all the field spells. But the point was, if you have Advanced Dark, you don't want to play Rainbow Ruins. You want to keep the dark theme or the regular theme. That's kind of how he had in the anime, because he had the whole Advanced Crystal Beast monster set up. And now with that Last Resort, you don't have that card in there that would search a card that you don't have. So this is a very clean side.
Just makes the most sense.
And, this will side Jesse's deck into his darker themed deck. Again, because we don't have the Advanced Crystal Beasts, Advanced Dark just makes all Crystal Beasts treated as Dark attribute, which
makes
is
sense.
great for Rainbow Dark Dragon. However, we're changing his effect because he was fairly different in the anime. Whereas this one needs to have 7 different darks in your grave, you banish him to summon him. The anime Rainbow Dark is summoned exactly like Rainbow Dragon. It needs to have 7 advanced Crystal Beasts on the field in Monster or Spell Zone and in the graveyard. So that's how ours is going to play. Except advanced Crystal Beasts will be replaced with Crystal Beasts of Dark attribute to balance that out. Because we're not going to change Advanced Dark. We're not going to have anything called Advanced Crystal Beast. It's going to be Crystal Beast of Dark attribute. You can banish Darks to give him 500 attack points. The anime one was like Rainbow Dragon. You could banish Crystal Beasts to get 1,000 attack points again. And the final effect, which Jesse used multiple times in his duel against Zane, was Rainbow Dark Dragon could protect itself from being destroyed by sending an advanced Crystal Beast from the spell zone to the graveyard to protect itself from being destroyed. So the full errata for that will be listed in our document. It's pretty much how I said it. It'll be worded nicer. And the 3 advanced darks. So this is the side deck. Very clean switch in, switch out with Jesse's, normal deck. And we're going to debut both, quote, decks.
In a duel.
In duels. So,
2 duels.
Between this and the Alexis stuff we have going on right now, because we're going to go back and forth, Jesse will first be Jesse versus Jaden with the Neos deck, followed by Jesse with the Dark Crystal Side-In versus Zane's Underworld deck. So those two pulled straight from the anime, and that duel with Jesse versus Zane being a very powerful emotional duel because of the way they played up Zane's condition and Jesse. And so I hope you guys like this.
Look forward to those duels. Like, comment, subscribe as always. Click the ads if you really love us, because that's the money we use to build these decks. And that's Jesse's deck.